What is the fastest way to build a balloon wall with the fewest balloons possible? It's a quick link wall, and I'll walk you step by step through the process of designing your own custom wall and how to put it all together. I'm using this digital template as a way to sketch out the custom design I want to build on this 6.5 foot tall by 8 foot wide link wall. This template, as well as a set of written plans, are linked in the description box below. I simply colored in each of the balloons according to my custom design, and I'll use this as the guide for assembling each string in my wall. Now, every string is made up of 8 12-inch quick link balloons, and going from top to bottom, I'm going to follow that guide by first placing 6 white balloons and 2 pink quick link balloons that all inflate and tie together in this order, going from right to left. So I'm going to take my first 2 white quick link balloons and inflate them until they're almost their full size. Then, using a sizer box, I'll get the diameter of the balloon down to 9 inches by gently pressing the balloon against the 9-inch hole in my sizer box and slowly letting out of it until it just fits through. I'm going to do this with both of the quick link balloons I've got in my hands before tying those together into a pair. So take the 2 balloons, overlap the nozzles, and wrap them around twice before tying them together in a simple knot. With the first and second balloon ready to go in our first string, I'm going to set these aside, making sure I keep them in order. I'm going to repeat these steps with the next 2 balloons in the strand, tie them into a pair, and then I'm going to take the tail end between the second and the third balloon in this string and tie the 2 of those together. So I now have 4 balloons all tied together into a string. Then simply repeat these steps until there are 8 quick link balloons tied end to end, and that will complete our first string. In order to make a wall that's 8 feet wide, I need 10 strings just like this. And because I'm creating a pattern, it's critical that I keep these strings in order. So I'm going to take a permanent marker and number each of my strings from 1 to 10 right next to the tail of the balloon that will be against the floor. These numbers won't be visible on the completed wall, but if our balloons happen to get mixed up before we're ready to tie them together, these numbers will be a lifesaver. Now, once I've got them all laid out on the floor, we need a way to tie these together, and I'll do that by creating some tiny pairs. Inflate 88 of these 5-inch balloons to 4 pumps of air each, or about 4.5 inches in diameter. Once I've inflated the first balloon, I'm going to hold it under my finger while I inflate the second balloon to the exact same size, and then I'm going to tie them together into a pair by wrapping the nozzle around twice and tying them together in a simple knot. Once I've prepared 44 of these pairs, we can now tie our strings together into our wall sections, which are called ribbons. Take the tail of the first balloon from the first and second string and tie those 2 together. This will be the very top of our first ribbon. Hold the 2 strings so that they're side by side, and you can either do this up in the air or flat on the ground, but you want to count from that center point we just tied down 2 balloons on each string. The nozzles after that second balloon is where we're going to cross the 2 strings over each other and twist them around so that they rotate twice. So once and then a second time. This will put each string back in its original position, which is critical if you're creating a pattern. So that first string is back in the first position. Now, to hold this twist in place, you're going to take one of those tiny pairs that we created, slip it in from the outside, bring the back balloon up to the front, twist them around each other, and place 1 balloon on the front side of the ribbon and 1 balloon on the back side of the ribbon. And this will hold the ribbon nice and straight as we move down making our twists. So count down 2 more balloons, twist the strings around each other twice, and then slip our pair in, twisting it around each other and placing 1 balloon on the front and 1 balloon on the back. Do this all the way down the ribbon until you get to the very end, and then you're going to take the 2 remaining tails and tie them together just like we did at the top of our ribbon. Then I repeated these steps until all the strings were tied into 5 ribbons. If you'll be transporting your design, this is a great step to do it at, as the ribbons are much easier to move than a completed wall. Now we need to tie all the ribbons into one solid piece. So I've laid them out flat on the floor side by side, and anywhere you've got 2 nozzles sitting right next to each other, that's where we're going to join them. So just like we did in making our ribbons, take one of those tiny pairs, slip it into the center of one ribbon, across the back side, and then up through the center of the ribbon next to it, twist those tiny balloons around each other, and then put 1 on the front and 1 on the back for a nice secure joint. I then just repeated the step until all my ribbons were tied together into a singular piece. And you can see how this wall comes together so quickly because you're just repeating the same steps again and again for a beautiful piece that comes together in a short amount of time. Now that I've got all of the base layer of my balloons together, I need a way to stand this upright. And I'm going to be using this Ikea Tagarp lamp. Now you could use any balloon stand you'd like, but this is an inexpensive and sturdy way to build a balloon stand. I bought a couple of these lamps, and I'll be using the base as well as 6 of the support poles to build my stand. And these simply screw together in 1-foot increments, so you can very easily change up the height of this stand to fit whatever project we're making. Now I've got 2 of these, and I'll put one on each end of my wall, and that'll be more than enough to support it. So I'm going to take my first stand and nestle it right where my first 2 balloons are tied together. Then I'm going to press the pole so it's touching the nozzles of the balloons all the way up. And any joint where there's a mini balloon pair, I'm going to take those 2 balloons and wrap them around the pole, twist them around each other, and then place them back in their original spots where there's one in the front and one in the back. And this will hold the pole to the wall, and we don't have to worry about them coming apart. Along each edge of the wall, you'll notice that you can see the nozzles of where we've tied the balloons together. So I'm going to camouflage each of those joints by slipping a mini balloon pair on the inside of the ribbon, pulling it out towards the edge, and twisting those 2 balloons around each other, leaving them on the outside edge of the wall. And that'll hide away those nozzles and give the edge of our wall a nice finished look. I did this across the top and on both sides, but didn't bother with it across the floor, though you could if you'd like. Now we need to fill in the holes so you can't see through the wall. I took a pair of 11-inch balloons and inflated them to 8 inches in diameter, and you simply shove one of the balloons of that pair anywhere there's a gap in the wall, and the tension between all the balloons will hold it in place. I inflated all of these filler balloons to 8 inches in diameter to give my wall a nice, consistent look. But if you wanted to make your wall more organic in nature, you could always inflate these 11-inch balloons to different sizes, or even swap out 17-inch balloons for some of them to give a more varied look. Link walls are a great way to have precise control over the placement of colors in a wall, almost like pixels on a screen. We can create patterns, shapes, and even images in these walls to suit our party or event. If you were inspired by today's project, you should check out this video, and until the next time, stay creative, everybody!